So many people, especially adults, feel like they don't know how to have fun anymore. And they think maybe they're funny, but they're not sure if they're funny. And so I'm curious from one of the funniest people on the planet, uh, how, this is for everyone listening, Chelsea, how can we all tap into our funny and be more funny and have more fun?
I think the first step into having more fun is to stop taking yourself so seriously.
Mm,
Like, we're human beings. So there's a lot of mistakes and there's a lot of embarrassment and there's a lot of like shame.
yeah.
And you can choose to take that in, or you can choose to like literally physically think about it running like water off of a duck's back. Like, I
Mhm.
sometimes physically, if I hear something about myself that's icky, or I read something about myself that I don't like, I always am just like, I imagine water physically running down my back and falling off me. Like, it's not
Mm,
my problem. That's okay. And to be joyful is so imperative for mental health. Like, to just, you don't have to be funny, but you have to have fun. You
mm.
don't have to be the person who makes the joke or is clever, or, oh, but you have to be able to be able to a person who appreciates that and is infected by it, and like, oh, I like that. I like the way that makes me feel. I want to make people feel that way. And to know that like you're a human being that makes mistakes. Self-effacement is the name of my game. I always start with myself before I talk about others. I'm the first one to talk about how mindless I am. I mean, I can barely there's not many things I can do around technology or for myself. I've kind of built this life where a lot of things are done for me, but I never take that seriously like I used to. Like, if I don't get upset when I can't work something or I can't do something. I'm like, "Oh, well, this is exactly how you wanted your life to be, you know? You wanted everyone to do things for you, and now here you are, and you can't even turn a TV on. Like, like, I don't take myself seriously anymore. I used to. I used to get so mad. And I think that's the first step of being joyful, is to
Mm.
understand like you're not perfect. You can constantly get better. And joyfulness is kind of the one thing that like, you know, no one can really take from you.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm. Like, they can't take your power away because you decide how
Yeah.
you're gonna feel or the meaning you're gonna attach to everything,
Yeah.
right? Like, you can't
Yeah.
figure out technology. Well, what's the meaning you're gonna attach to that? Or
Yeah.
someone says something bad or some hater online or this or that, which every one of us now, the person that used to be a teacher or a doctor and they never had to deal with public opinions, now everyone is online saying everything about anybody and everything. So now they're having to kind of deal with that too. I think everyone feels like now they have critics or people at this or that. And so the example or the analogy you gave, water off a duck's back, because water just flows off the feathers, right? It doesn't stick to them. That's so beautiful. So you're able to just do that and be like, you're not taking my joy.
Like, people who get road rage, where you see
Yes.
people in their
Yes.
cars, like it's so embarrassing. Like, are you
Yeah.
seriously getting mad at somebody else for their driving? Like, why are you wasting your joy on that? You just gave away joy. Like,
Yeah.
you're choosing anger. You're choosing to be angry over something that has you have no control over. Like, I remember someone once sent a picture to me of me. I was furiously texting like an agent or a manager at some point, and like angry texting where you're like,
Yeah.
and my assistant at the time sent me the picture, and I just went, oh. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing sending emails like that and texts like that with that kind of energy,
Mm.
transmitting anger and what are you doing? There's a million ways to say everything. Find the nicest way, the gentlest way. You can still be firm and stand up for yourself with grace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be, oh, I'm a powerful, you didn't do this and you didn't do that. Like, all of that stuff is a choice. So, like when I see people with like road rage, or if I see someone, getting mad at a server or a flight attendant, I'm like, you're you've lost the plot. Like if you're really upset, like if your flight gets delayed and it's 9 hours and you're stuck at the airport, you can choose to have a great time at that airport.
Yeah.
You can choose that. Or you can be a baby and cry about it for 5 or 6 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And of course, there are extenuating circumstances. If you're trying to get home to a loved one who's sick or something like that, of course, I understand that. But really, in the grand scheme of things, you take whatever things that don't go your way and turn them into something that does.
And something you said just now too about not taking yourself so seriously. I think that's a big thing because so many of us are like, oh, what is that person going to think? Or how did that make me look? Or
Yeah,
this or
yes,
that?
yes.
How
All of
did
that.
you ski naked? Like you ski down the hill and like it for your birthday and like all the things. How, have you always like not taken yourself so seriously, or has this been like a progression? And like, what are some tips on how all of us right now, every person listening, every person watching, can just sort of like, I'm not going to take myself so seriously because when I hear those words, it sounds like freedom.
Because if you once you settle into who you really are, and we all have that, we all have like the essence of who we are, the
Yeah.
truest, best version of ourselves.
Yeah.
Once we allow that person to come through, there is no more room for trying to make an impression, trying to get someone to like you, trying. That is futile.
Yeah.
The only way you really get people to like you is by being who you are, because people are going to like you.
Yeah.
People are going to dislike you, and people are going to like you. Both of those things can be true,
Yeah.
and both of those things will happen. And that's great. Go where the light is. Go to the people that like you, stay there, surround yourself with those people, and then you will just keep adding to that crew like of love in your life. You don't focus on the haters, you don't focus on the negativity, and you don't focus on thinking about did I say the wrong thing? Did it? No, all of that energy, it doesn't get you anything. It just gets you circular thoughts and negative thoughts about yourself. And you just have to remember who you are is good enough.
Yeah.
It really is for everybody. Just be who you are, and you're going to be rewarded for that. And then you take out all that chatter,
Yeah.
you know?
When you, speaking of skiing, when you have sort of a tradition, is it on your birthday you'll
Yeah.
ski in a bikini down? Is
Yeah.
it Whistler typically?
Whistler, I usually
Yeah.
sometimes I've been topless.
Yeah.
Usually the last couple of years, because I have nieces and nephews who pointedly said, "Can you please not be topless?" On and I was like, "Yeah, you know what? You bring up a good point. You know, it is slightly vulgar, but it's not vulgar. You know, like it's freeing. It's
Yeah.
freeing. Like I understand where they're coming from, but you know. So anyway, so I think the last few years I have worn a top, but and then I think that that's something like, to me is the essence of who I am.
Hmm.
Me skiing down a mountain with a joint in one hand, a margarita in the other. Sometimes I have my dogs on me, sometimes I don't. In a bikini is exactly who I wanted to be when I grew up.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever, when it comes to body, you mentioned the comment your aunt made, but also, you look at the data, it's like 91% of girls and women literally will opt out of meaningful activities when they don't like how they look or their body. And
Mhm.
it's such a thing. And I think about even in my own life for decades, the amount of experience that I missed out on because I was like self-conscious. I
Yes,
think about,
I know what
have
you
you
mean.
ever dealt with body image stuff?
Oh, yes, of course. I'm a woman. I mean, I don't know how to, of course. I've done the same thing in my 20s. I would weigh myself 15 times a day. I would stop. If I weighed a certain amount, I wouldn't go out that night. I would exercise. I would run for 2 hours on the beach and then come back and weigh myself to see how much water weight I lost. Such a waste. I've wasted so many hours about my body image, so many. Um, and I hate that every woman in this world deals with that. I hate that our society hasn't embraced, even though, we're beginning the conversations, it's going to take another 1,000 years for girls to understand like everyone is different. You all have different parts. So, yes, I am a victim of the very same thing. And it is, I don't know what the answer to that is. I don't know how you get out of that. I think
Are you
obviously,
out of it now?
yeah, to a degree, but I still care. I still
Mm.
care about what I look like in a bathing suit. I'm much more freer about the fact that I do have cellulite and it's not shameful. Like, but I also take really good care of myself because I want to look, my strongest and my healthiest. I want to be powerful. Like I lift weights because I want to be strong and I want to be able to ski like a badass.
Mhm.
Like I train all the time because I want to be strong for skiing. And I also want to look good. And I'm not somebody that you can excise from that argument and say that I don't feel that way. I do. I do care about the way I look, and I wish we had an answer, but I don't have the answer for that. I don't
Mhm.
know.
Mhm. Mhm. So many people called this younger generation, like in their 20s or 30s, the snowflake generation. They say like they're offended by everything or they don't want to work hard or you touch them and they melt kind of a thing. Do you think do you think that's true? And do you think people get offended too easy right now that we're in that?
I'm not gonna say people get offended too easily because it's not really anyone's decision what offends another person.
Yeah.
I think it's great information to understand w- why people are offended. I
Mm,
think that's great information as a comedian
yeah.
who has offended many people in my career and on my shows to learn parameters and boundaries and sensitivities that people have is a very useful tool in making me a sharper comedian, not a less sharp comedian. Nobody's taking away funny. You have to be more clever about your jokes. If you don't want to offend people, I don't want to offend people. I want to, I mean, I don't care about, offending most Republicans, but the people that I think are inherent, like if you tell me that this is hurtful to me, then I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? I find that to be very useful information. I don't
Yeah.
find that to be a limit to my comedy.
Yeah.
It's actually enhanced my comedy because I've had to rise up.
The dimensions of you that you have shared in your book and also that you've shared today are so inspiring and just so multidimensional and so powerful. And, I want to read something. You say, I am here for women. That is my purpose. I'm here to lift, to inspire, and to listen. There is not a woman in need that I wouldn't try to help pull out of whatever hole she's in to help lift her up. I'm here for every member of the LGBTQ community and for any person who doesn't feel seen. I am here for the underdogs, and I'm here to demonstrate compassion, empathy, and love. I feel so deeply all those things in you. And it's really, really cool to have a conversation like this with you. I read something you mentioned about, I haven't gone to college, but I've sent 50 others to college. What do you mean by that?
College funds, creating college funds for lots of people, strangers, people I do know, people who've worked for me, my family members,
Yeah.
people I'll never meet,
Yeah.
people who will never know I sent them to college.
Yeah.
That feels really good.
If you're ready to truly live more, laugh more, and love more, I am so excited you're here for this incredible part 3 episode with Chelsea Handler.